Story time about one of the worst financial decisions I've ever made.
I made a huge personal finance mistake and I haven't wanted to talk about it or share much about it because honestly, it was embarrassing. No, it's not credit card payments. It's not a car payment. We paid those off a couple months ago. It's paying for...
He meant I needed a different pair of Louboutins for every single day. So down the rabbit hole I went.
I'm 48 years old, and I would have to say one of the biggest financial mistakes that I have made up to this point is...
Here is the story of my biggest financial mistake of my life.
What has been your biggest financial mistake?
Okay, in what way?
Story time about one of the worst financial decisions I've ever made. From 2020 to 2022, I was an online fitness coach, and I had a full-blown business. I had employees, I had an assistant coach. At one point, we probably had like 70 clients, and I loved it. I loved it so much, but there was always this pressure to quote unquote invest in yourself and invest in your business, which I do not disagree with, okay? The more advanced you get in your business, the more you are encouraged to invest and the more expensive it gets. So I decided to spend, I'm cringing saying this, $7,000 on a business coach. And that was discounted. And it did absolutely nothing for me. So at the point of investing in this coach, my business was kind of slowing down and I really needed help with just picking it back up, and I wanted to get to the point where I could not have to do the sales part anymore. I really wanted to do just the social media and coach my few clients that I had. And that business coach really didn't do anything for me at all. Like, looking back, I really don't remember making any moves with her at all about anything. She told me I needed to go to therapy, and that's about it. And the fact that I spent $7,000 on that. That could have been a down payment for a car. That could have been in my savings for my future house that I am saving for right now. The amount of regret that I have in spending that much money for a business that I'm not even doing anymore actively, I regret it so much. It was by far my worst financial decision I've ever made.
As a business owner, I do heavily believe in investing in yourself and reinvesting in your business. Now, if you're going to spend $7,000, which for a small business is a lot of money, you have to do your due diligence. That's all I'll say, because I personally have invested in coaching. And I think it's a worthwhile thing to do if you do your due diligence. I would never spend $7,000 without, I don't even know the level of the scrutiny and research I would do, because that's a lot of money. And anyone can go online nowadays and profess that they are a coach or profess that they are some kind of, six-figure mentor, a high-ticket sale mentor or coach or whatever. And with that being said, I'll have to say this as well, because a lot of times people invest in coaching and they'll invest in a course, for example, and then they'll say that they got nothing out of it. And I'm not saying this is the case with her, but a lot of times it's because they don't do anything with the information. They take it, they read it, they watch it, and then that's it. They don't apply it. And if you don't apply good information, then what's the point of it?
One of the worst pieces of financial advice I'd ever been given, and ultimately contributed to my overconsumption problem, occurred in my 20s when I transitioned into tech. And at that time, tech was bananas. You had a bunch of 20-something-year-olds, multimillionaires whose prefrontal cortexes were not developed. It was legit like Wolf of Wall Street. So bottle service, private jets, the whole nine. And there was somebody at the company that I really looked up to because he was only a couple years older than me. And I wanted to sit down and talk to him about, what are you investing in? Like, what are some of the strategies that you have? Because he lived in a penthouse apartment. He had multiple luxury cars. And I thought, how do we get there? I had just started making $100,000, which I thought was pretty good at, I think, 26-ish years old as a first gen to go to college and somebody who grew up low income. And this is like 10 years ago, so adjusted for inflation. And this person practically gagged at how cute my question was. He said, I don't save anything. I don't have anything saved. I don't invest anything or have retirement, because if I wanted something, I just need to make more money. And I said, what do you do when you're 80 years old or whatever? He's like, no, I'm going to make so much money that I don't need a retirement plan. And the other piece of advice he gave me was to dress for the role that you want, not the role you have. But he didn't mean wear nice clothes, which I agree with, dressing for the role you want. He meant I needed a different pair of Louboutins for every single day. So down the rabbit hole I went, and that's what started my overconsumption. If I think about all the clothes that I bought and all the stupid shit that I bought, and I would have invested that instead, things would be very different.
Come on now, I don't want to judge her or anything, but does she really need to go out and take the man's advice to understand that it was bad advice. Personally speaking, if I was in that situation, I would have known as soon as he started talking and explaining what his philosophy is that it's probably not the best idea. Sure, I agree with earning more money. I also agree with looking good to even earn more money. But the idea of having no investments, no savings, is he going to work until he dies? And is he going to make the same amount of money until he dies? Probably not. Obviously put some money away so that when you're older, you don't want to work anymore or you can't work anymore, you have some money available. It's just nonsensical. The guy clearly is not financially astute. He might be a good salesman, apparently, but other than that, I wouldn't. So she's saying that, because of that, she started splurging on all these designer goods and all these handbags and shoes and all these different things. Come on, man. Let's be honest, guys. I mean, she just wanted to buy the stuff. Let's keep it real. She wanted to buy the stuff. That's what I think. I think she wanted to buy the stuff. She spoke to this man who was living a lifestyle that a lot of us wouldn't mind at least experiencing for some time. And she's like, okay, well, if he said it, then maybe I can justify it because clearly he's winning. But like I said, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize it was just bad advice.
I made a huge personal finance mistake and I haven't wanted to talk about it or share much about it because honestly, it was embarrassing. I think I'm now finally at peace. I made my first $930 a month payment and I'm ready to talk about it. No, it's not credit card payments. It's not a car payment. We paid those off a couple months ago. It's paying for health insurance. I can't believe I'm saying this. Long story short, my husband got laid off in April and we were on his health insurance plan through his company. When he got laid off, we told my company that we needed to get on my insurance plan. We didn't realize that there was a certain amount of paperwork that we had to fill in. And also we didn't realize that there's a grace period when you have a major life event happen to get on a new insurance plan. You had to submit those documents within those 30 days. Otherwise, you're basically out of luck for the rest of the year until the next enrollment period opens up. Did you know this? Am I the only one who didn't know this? Normally in a certain year, I feel like I don't even really use my health insurance. It probably wouldn't be that big of a deal to not have health insurance, but listen, my husband tore his Achilles and he went to the emergency room and he got surgery. And guess when we found out we didn't have health insurance? The day we got home from the hospital. We're still trying to figure out what the exact out-of-pocket expense will be for that emergency room visit that we went with no insurance. We were able to go through the marketplace to get insurance, and that insurance through marketplace is now costing us $930 a month. It's embarrassing. It makes me want to cry. Thank God for an emergency fund. Am I right? Because we're going to be pulling about $1,000 a month from the emergency fund to cover these medical expenses until the open enrollment period at my company opens back up. Maybe my husband can get a job between now and the end of the year that offers benefits. That will be another major life event that we could sign on to health insurance and we could cancel our marketplace health insurance. It's draining $930 a month from us. But the job market is incredibly tough right now. And so I honestly just don't know what to do.
I don't necessarily look at this as being a terrible financial mistake. I look at it as just something you're doing because your health is important. And would you want to pay $1,000 a month for health insurance? No, I wouldn't. What would I do if I was in her situation? I don't know. I want to say I'd probably wait it out and just wait till open enrollment opens again and just hope that between that time that nothing major happens. But again, you never know. Her husband tore his Achilles, ended up in the emergency room, which I don't even want to see that bill. So it's one of those tough situations to be in. But in the grand scheme of things, I would say this is not necessarily a huge financial mistake. It's just an unfortunate situation that could have been avoided, to be honest, if you were paying more attention. So maybe that's why it's a mistake, but it's not something like, oh, I went and I spent $30,000 on a whim on a Gucci bag. It's not the same thing.
I'm 48 years old, and I would have to say one of the biggest financial mistakes that I have made up to this point is blowing my retirement fund when I did have one back in my 20s and not starting on a new retirement plan until like a couple of months ago. Now, unfortunately, where I work, my employer does not offer any type of benefits. And so when I decided I needed to get serious about retirement planning, I went to SoFi where I have my high yield savings account and I started an IRA. Now, I started first with the traditional IRA. I'm only putting $100 a month in there, but at least I have started. A little while after that, I was super excited that I had even started. And so I started another one, but I started a Roth IRA this time, and I'm doing $100 towards that Roth IRA every month as well. Now, I know that's not a lot of money going into it. I know I have a lot to catch up on, but right now I'm just proud of myself because I started. And once we get some more of our debt paid off, I'm definitely going to increase those amounts.
So this is the big one. So essentially her mistake is, it sounds like cashing out her retirement early on. That's a big mistake. A lot of people do that. They have a series of jobs when they first start working. Those jobs offer some type of retirement accounts, 401k most of the time, could be a 403b, could be something else. But when they leave each job, they cash it out instead of rolling it over into an individual account or into a new employer-sponsored retirement account. And that can be bad for business because now you're losing the ability for that money to compound. And a lot of times people take the money out and they don't use it to invest in other things. Like I did this when I had left my, I think, second or third job after college, and I cashed out my 403b, I believe, but I used that money for a down payment on a rental property that I still own today. Looking back, would I have done it again? I don't know, but I don't beat myself up too much because I still use that money to invest and it's still earning me money and it's still building my net worth and helping me for the future. But if you use that money, you go shopping or you go on vacation or you do something with it that's not going to lead to future benefit, that can be a big mistake. Kudos to her for realizing it and for trying to catch up. And it's good that she is never too late. The best time to start was yesterday, and I think they say the best, I forget the quote, but no better time than now, essentially. Sure, that money would have been more now had she left it in there, but better late than never.
I won $100,000 after winning America's Next Top Model in 2017, and here is the story of my biggest financial mistake of my life. So after I won the show, they actually gave me a check for $100,000. Boom, baby, I'm rich. And for some reason, my little itty-bitty undeveloped brain thought that that meant it was $100,000 post-tax. Like, they obviously already took out the game show tax because I got a check for $100,000. Newsflash, not the case. So anyways, I go and spend the $100,000. I paid $60,000 for an apartment in New York, but I had a roommate paying me back, and then I subleased it and they paid me back. Anyways, it wasn't that horrible of an investment, but obviously not the smartest thing I could have done. And then the rest of the money I spent taking my family on like nice dinners, and I bought one pair of shoes. And anyways, I spent the entire $100,000. I also got a car. Like, yeah, I spent the money, okay? What I should have done was put aside 35 to 40% of the money for taxes so that I'd be ready to pay that. But I didn't do that. I spent it all. And so I spent the next several years paying back the money in taxes to the IRS. Whenever you watch a game show and you see like, oh my God, they won $10,000 or they won a new car or whatever it is, just take that with a grain of salt, because not only are they going to be taxed on the actual cashola that they bring home, but like when you get a free car, you don't really get a free car. You have to pay the taxes and then all the other things that come with winning a prize on television. For the $1 million that you win on Survivor, you probably got to pay like $400,000 in taxes. That's nuts. But anyways, anytime I talk about this, people always freak out and they're like, oh my God, you're such an idiot. It's like, yeah, I was kind of an idiot. That's why I'm making this video in hindsight, okay? Lesson learned, and yeah, always prepare for taxes, everyone.
So a lot of us aren't in situations like this. This is like akin to winning the lottery. Most people are not going to win the lottery, but let's say you're someone who has a grandparent who passes down some money to you. Or let's say you're someone who unfortunately gets in an accident and you get a big settlement. You know, there are different situations that regular everyday people can come into and they get a large sum of money. Or let's say you started a business and you happen to be doing very well and you're starting to make income from your business. Whatever the case may be, we have to remember Uncle Sam, our favorite uncle. And she said that, you know, she wasn't aware of this, that, and the third. Again, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but to me, I don't know, even thinking back to myself in maybe 17, 18, 16, of course, I'm not as financially astute as I am now then. But even me, I'm like, I think I would have found a way to realize I have to pay some of this money to the government. Someone would have told me. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's like if I get $100,000 in cash or a check, I know better than to know or than to think that all that is just what I can put in my pocket. So I think that's the moral of the story here, is to always put money aside for taxes. I've heard many different people in every different realm of industry, whether it be content creators, doctors, engineers, nurses, you name it, where they make a lot of income, but they don't account for taxes. And a lot of times, if you have like a business or you get a check like she did, the taxes aren't taken out. That's the thing. If you work like as a nurse for a company, they're going to take the income tax out before you even get your check, right? That's most of us. This situation, not the case. So I'll be a little bit easy, but I feel like she should have known that. The other stuff she talked about, splurging with her family, getting a place in New York, getting a car. All that seems pretty standard. Maybe she bought above her means because she thought $100,000 is just so much money. Not to say it's a little bit of money, but it's not money it's not FU money. You can't retire forever from it, right? Unless you bet it all on red or black or whatever and 10 times it, 30 times it. So yeah, I think the moral of the story is here. Always, always, always remember our good old Uncle Sam. Don't we love him?
What has been your biggest financial mistake?
My ex-girlfriend.
Oh, okay. In what way?
Vacations and, just dinners. Just didn't work out.
And this is why she's your ex-girlfriend.
This is why.
Okay. And if you could go back, what would you change?
It was a good experience, so lesson learned. I don't think I'd change much.
Lesson learned. So now just pay for less vacations and dinners?
Yeah, stay single.
Stay single. Okay, that's the advice. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, so I included this one because I thought it was funny. Let's be honest. He said it's his girlfriend. It could be the other way around. It could be a woman saying it's her boyfriend or whatever the case may be. It's just funny that someone would say their significant other was their worst financial mistake. Now listen, sometimes it's not that funny. Sometimes people go through divorces. Could be, and it's whoever is the breadwinner. It's not really a man or a woman thing. It's who is the breadwinner. And a lot of times that person is the one that gets the shorter end of the stick in a divorce. In this situation, it wasn't a divorce, it was just a breakup. And it sounds like he was a more traditional guy in a sense. And I can relate to that, where he was paying for more of the vacations, more of the outings, the dinners, and what have you. And I do the same thing. But it didn't work out. And, I don't know if he's really scorned about it or if he's kind of more joking. I can't really tell. He seems kind of serious, but it might be his personality. But, it is what it is, essentially. When you're with the person and you guys are dating and whatever, cool. And then if it ends, it doesn't work out, you don't count the dollars you spent, you just move on with life. That's how it is. But nonetheless, this has been an interesting one. There's been a range of different people and different situations that people say was their biggest financial mistake. I'm curious, what would you say your biggest financial mistake is? And now that I think about it, what is my biggest financial mistake?
A few moments later.
I'm going to say my biggest financial mistake is being too conservative with money. And that's kind of general, but I think that's what it is for me. I'm too conservative in a lot of different areas of life, and money is one of them. I could have invested more. I have invested, obviously. I've taken some risk, but I could have taken more risk, and obviously hindsight is always 20/20. But I would say that's my biggest financial mistake, is just not being more aggressive with my investing. And the second to that would be taking more student loans than I needed. But again, whatever. I paid them off at this point. But yeah, if I can go back, I would not have taken nearly as much student loans as I had. And the ones I did take out, I'd work while I was in school to pay them off completely before I graduated. Anyway, like I said, let me know what yours is. And until next time, make smart financial decisions.